you go. Thank you, baby.
It's very hot, so I would maybe eat after this one or something.
Yeah. Thank you.
Reapply your lipstick or something, because I don't want you to wait too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love you. Hey y'all, it's Alirien, and welcome to our Lughnasadh horoscope tarot readings for 2024. Lughnasadh or Lammas is known as the first harvest. It's when much of our grain and early season fruit comes to be reaped, and it's when we begin the transition from the often heady revelry of spring and summer into preparing for the cold and dark of winter, making sure that we're putting in all of the work that needs to be done in order to get the most out of what we did earlier in the year so that we can weather the cold, dark, lonesome winter all the better. This is a season of celebrating abundance and prosperity, as well as paving the way for new things that we want to begin in the autumn, or making sure that we are taking the time to leave a cleaner slate for anything we begin next spring. So that is something good to keep in mind, is that all of these readings will probably pertain in some way to how you can make the most of your prosperity, where your prosperity lies, or what you can do to prepare for the winter. We will be following the same format that we always do here in my tarot videos, where we will be reading a 3-card spread from a Waite-Smith style deck, plus the bottom card of the deck. In this case, the Moon Crystal Tarot, inspired by Sailor Moon. This was written and illustrated and sold by Alexandra Aquilina, who also goes by Screen Girl Berlin on Etsy or whatever other sites that she may be on. And we normally pull one card from an Oracle style deck. In this case, instead of a deck of cards, we are using my rune set, the first rune set that I bought. So these are simple white ceramic runes, Norse runes, but this will serve as our oracular component to go along with the tarot. We are in the throes of Leo season at this time, so we will be starting with Leo and ending with Cancer in this video. You can find the time codes for each of the signs chapters below. I do urge you to not only look at your sun sign if you know your birth chart, consider going and looking at your rising and moon signs as well as any other signs that pertain to other aspects of your life that you need particular guidance in. If you need help with your love life, consider going to look at your Venus sign, for instance. More so than anything else, please take what resonates. Watch the whole video, and if any of the readings call to you most particularly, that is the reading that is meant for you, even if it's not the sign that you know you were born under. Take what resonates and leave the rest. That is the most important thing here. So, without further ado, let's shuffle the cards and the bag of runes and begin with our Leo reading. Has pulled the High Priestess as the bottom card, the Inverted Emperor, the Hierophant, and the Inverted Fool. Your rune is Ehwaz. There's, I think, a bit of caution being stressed to Leo at this time. The bottom card of the deck, being the High Priestess, symbolizes that now is a time for you to really, really follow your intuition and your instincts and trust your intuition and your instincts with what's going on in your life. I will also say, Leo, you have pulled all major arcana. So this is big picture stuff. This is lots of the heavy gears and the big aspects of your life, or at least some sort of major aspect of your life that's going to experience these events. The Inverted Emperor signifies either your authority and power being domineered by someone else, or it could alternatively be you abusing whatever authority or power you have. Regardless of which scenario it is, you need to take back control and step into your power without abusing it. Don't push others around just because you have the power to do so. Likewise, don't let other people push you around and cause you to make decisions that you wouldn't make for the sake of their benefit over yours. The Hierophant often is symbolic of spiritual teachings or tradition, and being upright often stresses that now is a time to stick with tradition and honor your traditions and the community around you and be in touch with your spirituality. The inverted Fool often is a bit of recklessness, a bit of not taking in all of the consequences before you move towards something, and thus being unprepared for those consequences. You are making yourself too vulnerable right now, and that in turn is causing your path that you're trying to follow to be blocked in some way. I think this sort of power dynamic that you're in, you're either being overly impulsive, and that is part of what's causing the inverted Emperor, where you're making the wrong use of the power and authority you have in your life, or your being impulsive is a bit of a coping mechanism for some scenario where you feel powerless. I think perhaps the inverted Emperor is signifying how you feel powerless, and so the behavior you've been exhibiting with the inverted Fool is you trying to cope with that. Your being impulsive is you taking control of the decisions you can make and trying to make those decisions and make those actions before somebody else can come tell you what you should do or what you need to do, or make you feel like you need to act in some other way, or make you feel like you shouldn't act in that way at all. Your counsels here, and I'll get to the rune in a second, but your counsels from the cards are to trust your intuition and your instincts with the High Priestess. Really, really think things over and do what you know deep down is right, regardless of what other people say and regardless of what even impulse is telling you to do. Don't be reckless. There's a difference between taking a risk because the reward is worth it, or taking a risk just for the thrill of having taken the risk. Sometimes both can be in the same scenario, but they're not mutually inclusive. So that intuition and instinct and really, really thinking through what is right for you and being in touch with yourself through the lens of your traditions and the community around you, particularly in a spiritual sense, but not necessarily inherently. The Hierophant almost to me is coming across as a trust the process sort of mentality right now. You need to buckle down and you need to follow your intuition above what anybody else tells you, and you need to examine the pros and the cons of each scenario before you tread forward, so that at least you're aware of the consequences and can be prepared to deal with them, rather than being blindsided and digging yourself into a deeper hole. And take back control of your decisions and your actions. Awaz is the rune of the yew tree, but it symbolizes movement toward enlightenment, endurance, initiation, and protection. It can also represent confusion, destruction, dissatisfaction, weakness, or death. I think a little bit of both is what's represented here, because the confusion and dissatisfaction are coming from the two inverted cards. And I think the aspects of endurance and protection and moving toward a state of enlightenment, those are very much represented, especially by the High Priestess and the Hierophant, both being there at the same time. They represent two sides of spirituality, right? The Hierophant is often conflated with the concept of a priest and with organized religion. Many people see it as the church, whatever that entails for you. You don't necessarily have to be Catholic or Christian for the Hierophant to connect to you, right? It's any sort of spiritual teacher. It's a mentor or a community. So like if you're Wiccan, it could be your coven. If you're Jewish, it could be your synagogue. Whatever that entails, right? Whatever group you bond with over spiritual belief and the traditions therein. The High Priestess is the more individual side of spirituality, where it's what you act on and believe morally and spiritually in your day-to-day life even when nobody else is watching or listening. And it's a balance of the two sides that helps you to navigate many scenarios. And I think it is in balancing both of these, staying true to yourself and your intuition, as well as to those traditions and interacting with that spiritual community, that you're going to be able to come back and take back this power and stop being so impulsive and move forward in a more enlightened sort of state of understanding. I'm doing everything that is right for me. I don't care if anybody thinks I'm selfish. I don't care if anybody else thinks it's stupid. I think it's smart. I think it's right. I know deep down in my heart and soul that this is what I need to do for me, so I'm gonna do it. I keep saying spiritual community. This could be as simple as it being whatever spirits that you work with in whatever practice, your guardian angels that you believe watch over you. This could be the swath of ancestors or spirit guides that are trying to help you along. It's not necessarily a coven or a church or, things of that nature. But the point is, balancing the two aspects of the spiritual side of your life is going to be what helps with getting through all of this. Alright, Virgo, you have pulled the inverted Wheel of Fortune, the Ace of Wands, the Six of Wands, and the inverted Ten of Swords. Your rune is Thorisaz. There's a bit of a mixed bag with Virgo. The inverted Wheel of Fortune, obviously, at face value at least, represents you being in or coming up to a period of shit luck. It also can simply recognize a period of stagnation, particularly if you've been resistant to some sort of change, whatever that may be. The Ten of Swords, likewise, I'm going to skip to this one, is a moment of rock bottom. And there's two sides to this, right? You've hit rock bottom, you've been in some sort of really shitty position, especially with it being the swords. It's a mental thing. You've been through something lately that has hit you really hard mentally. And it could just be that you've had really crap luck and that has put you at rock bottom mentally. But there is a bright side in that there's nowhere to go but up from this, right? When the Ten of Swords is inverted, it does symbolize that there's some sort of revival that is beginning. You're in the process of picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and starting to move forward. Either you're piecing back together the scenario that led to the Ten of Swords, or you're leaving behind that scenario for something better. The Ace of Wands, the Ace and the Six of Wands are the better on the other side. The Ace of Wands is all about creative potential and all of the opportunities that come with that. All of the aces are pure potential energy with whatever they represent. And the Ace of Wands is fire, it's creativity, it's action, right? It's the doing of the things. There is a lot of potential ahead of you with this, and you are urged with the Ace of Wands to take any opportunity that presents itself and run with it. Try any opportunity, okay? Especially the really, really good ones that are ahead of you. The Six of Wands, likewise, is a bit twofold, similar to the Ten of Swords, but it's kind of in the opposite direction. It's a moment of celebration. It's often a card of victory. While it was probably a hard-fought victory, whatever it was, as signified by the Ten of Swords and the inverted wheel, it is a victory nonetheless. You've gotten to the end of this journey. You are still kicking in spite of whatever you had to go through, and you're allowed to celebrate and acknowledge that, hey, I made it through and I'm on the other side, and now I don't necessarily have to go through that again. The main thing is to recognize that you didn't make it through alone. Someone or something helped you through, and so you need to make sure that you acknowledge everyone and everything that helped you through whatever you were dealing with, right? And you've got a 10 and an ace, so you're in this point of one journey ending and the next one beginning. Also, with the wheel being inverted, remember that this bad luck that you've been through or about to go through will not last. The wheel is always turning, okay? So this could be a day, this could be a week, this could be a month of crap luck, and then at some point the wheel is going to turn the other way and you're going to be on top of it again. So just keep that in mind and let that be what helps to kick your drive in the ass to take these opportunities and run forward with what is coming for you, right? You also have the Thorisaz rune. Thorisaz is the rune of Thor. It represents strength, conflict, defense or protection, and violence for the sake of that. When inverted, it can be violence for the sake of violence, but since it is upright, it is violence for the sake of protecting what is yours and not letting it be taken from you or destroyed. It is reactive force or directed force. It is a catalyst for regeneration, right? We have the inverted Ten of Swords. It's revival, it's regeneration, it's recovery. Constructive conflict. Again, conflict for the sake of making things better and achieving peace. The Six of Wands and the Ten of Swords further kind of back up this idea that you had to fight through something recently or are about to finish fighting through something. And the fight will have been worth it. However tired you feel at the end, you got through it. You survived and you protected what was yours. You held on to it. And that is so honorable. And that is something that you need to acknowledge. You need to be proud of yourself for getting through this. From there, let yourself recover, acknowledge everyone that helped you through, and just be on the lookout for this opportunity to start moving forward and moving toward better things again. And I bet you whatever this opportunity is with the Ace of Wands, once you take it and start working toward it, that's going to be the catalyst for your wheel to finally flip around. Libra has pulled the Amazon of Wands, the inverted Six of Wands, the inverted Two of Swords, and the inverted Three of Wands. Your rune is Nautis. Nautis is a rune of need, necessity, friction, restraint, innovation, life lessons, or urgency. But the kind of resistance it talks about is the kind that helps you become stronger. It's the recognition of the ultimate cosmic law, it's innovation, it's self-reliance, personal development, life lessons, achievement through effort. It can also represent constraint or distress. I think in this case, it is upright, so it is the more positive side of there being resistance that's meant to help you grow and get stronger. The Amazon of Wands as the bottom card is a card of action, adventure, fearlessness. It is all of the energy of the suit of Wands, the suit of fire, thrown as wholeheartedly as possible into whatever you're pursuing right now. And of course, the Wands, being fire, are a suit of creativity and action. It's a card that represents the passionate pursuit of a vision until it is manifested. The Knight cards, the Amazons, are hard to stop. This very, very driven focus on achieving your goal can often lead to brash and impulsive and unrealistic actions and thoughts. And that is, I think, part of what's being represented here. But ultimately, the rune calls in that you are clearly facing some sort of obstacle right now, Libra. There is some sort of resistance that you are having to fight through. And as much as it sucks and as annoying as it is, this resistance is meant to help you in the end to learn how to overcome this obstacle so that you will be better able to confront whatever the obstacle is in the future. The inverted Six of Wands is self-doubt and lack of recognition. It can also represent punishment, but I think it's the self-doubt aspect that we're getting here. The inverted Two of Swords in this case represents confusion and an inability to make a choice. Often that choice is also one where there is no real right answer. You basically have to pick the less bad answer. More so, it's just a confusion that's leading to indecision. And the inverted Three of Wands is similar to the inverted Six. It's obstacles, delays, and frustration. In spite of your high energy driving you to pursue your goal as fervently as you have the capacity to do so, and the focus that you have toward this goal, there are obstacles in your path. And these obstacles are frustrating you because you just want to do, you just want to go, you just want to get there, and you can't. You've hit these obstacles that are causing you to have to slow down. That is frustrating you, and that is in turn starting to cause a bit of mental turmoil, and that is at risk of derailing you entirely from your goal, I think. These tests are intended to strengthen you. Don't give in to impulsivity. Hold on to that drive and hold on to that fire and direct it into figuring out how to overcome these obstacles. Learn how to get past it, because you will need to learn this. You will need to learn how to balance your drive and your focus with consideration and care for your path in order to grow and be stronger and be better able to face whatever obstacles lie beyond the ones that are in front of you right now. Scorpio, you have pulled the Seven of Cups, the Ten of Cups, the Nine of Cups, and the Ten of Pentacles. Your rune is the same as Libra's of Nauthiz. Or I guess it's Nauthiz. Anyway. Scorpio is in a really good season right now. Like, holy crap. There's a very strong feeling of fulfillment and achievement, particularly emotionally, especially emotionally, because we have 3 Cups cards. Cups are the suit of water, they're the suit of emotion, and also relationships. And we have the Ten of Pentacles, which is financial, it's career, it's material, it's all of your tangible wealth and security. The Seven of Cups being the bottom of the card does say that you are faced with at least one choice. I'm thinking maybe several decisions that need to be made right now. And while there are a lot of options you're confronted with, and so it's making it difficult to choose, or you have multiple decisions you need to make, so it's difficult to prioritize, these decisions do need to be made sooner rather than later, because if you don't decide on these things, you're never going to keep moving forward. You're going to stagnate yourself. But it seems like navigating these decisions might be the biggest, restriction as far as Nauthiz. Let me double check the readings again and see what else. Yeah, it seems like these decisions are perhaps the difficulty that Nauthiz is pointing to. Otherwise, it could be the concept of the innovation and the self-reliance in you needing to maybe think a little bit outside of the box, try a different approach to some of the situations you're faced with right now in order to get around them, and learning from taking those new approaches. That said, you have the capacity to be entirely self-reliant right now. The Ten of Cups and Ten of Pentacles both, they're the end of their suit, and they're very, very happy, very fulfilling cards, right? The Ten of Cups says that emotionally, you are as set and as stable as you can be, and you recognize that there's not any need to put a lot of weight on material goods, but that's in part because you do also have the Ten of Pentacles, which is financial or professional stability. It's legacy, right? These are both cards of fulfillment, and they're very strong energies with them. You've reached a really, really good point. You've reached the end of some sort of journey. That said, one of these decisions you need to make is definitely what's next. That's one of the big things I try to stress when the tens come up. They're the end of their suit, so there's so much potential beyond them to find a new path. What's the next goal? What's the next thing to work toward, right? You don't just reach a goal and stop. You got to figure out where you're going to go next. So that is at least one of the decisions that you need to make. Being that Cups is involved, I imagine there's some sort of relationship that's going to be involved in this new path. The Nine of Cups, similarly, you've reaped a lot of benefit and reward from the work that you've done, and it's perfectly fine to take your time and bask in that and revel in it and be proud of yourself for having gotten to where you are. Just be careful not to overindulge and let it get to your head, right? That is another thing that is a potentially stagnating circumstance if you let it get there. I will say, I did also notice, and it's going hand in hand perfectly with the reading, that the Ace of Pentacles is underneath the Seven of Cups. Ace of Pentacles is the beginning of the suit of Pentacles. It is pure potential energy in regards to financial or professional opportunity. There is probably an opportunity coming up, perhaps even multiple, and that is another decision you're going to have to make, is which opportunity to take, or whether or not to take the opportunity, or when to take it. I think it's probably going to be a worthwhile opportunity to take. But yeah, some resistance along the way here, but it's nothing you can't navigate, because you've been through so much already and achieved a lot. I have every ounce of faith that you are strong enough to get through what's next. But yeah, take some time to enjoy this season of your life that you've worked to get toward, and think about what's next. Sagittarius has pulled Justice inverted, the inverted star, the inverted Eight of Pentacles, and the Ten of Cups. Your rune is Tiwaz. The rune perfectly envelops the combined meaning of the inverted Justice and Star cards. I'll get there in a second. Inverted Justice is one of two things. It can either be that you are acting in ways that are not okay, not necessarily illegal, but at least immoral or unethical, and you're not taking accountability, you're not taking responsibility for things that you're doing or saying. Or it could be that you're overanalyzing the things that you're doing, the things that you're saying, your choices that are in front of you. You're overthinking every little thing and perhaps being too harsh on yourself. Whatever the case may be, mentally, you're not doing all right. And this is evident with the inverted star, which says that you've lost some hope and you've lost some faith in the journey that lies ahead of you. You've lost faith in your own actions, in whether or not you're doing what needs to be done and making the right choices to achieve your goal or reach the end of the journey that you're on right now. Inverted Eight of Pentacles likewise signifies a lack of focus, ambition, or motivation. You've been doing all of this work to try to achieve a goal and you feel that you've plateaued or stagnated. You feel like everything's just coming to a halt and the only thing you know to do is to keep working. But why should you keep working if the work you've already done has gotten you very little, if anything at all? It's creating this horrible cycle. You're at risk of falling off the path in front of you because you feel like you're going in circles and not actually making any progress. There are a few aspects to the counsel of this message, right? The Ten of Cups does point to you being emotionally in a really good state. I think this is more of a mental issue, and if you don't get it in check, it's potentially going to affect this. This could also be pointing to a really, really stable relationship that you can lean on right now while you navigate all of this, right? It could be family, could be friend, could be your significant other, could be a group of people. But I think, firstly, you're meant to lean on this really, really steady relationship and try to let your emotions help you see things a bit more positively. Second, the star itself is trying to urge you not to stray off your path too far. Have some faith in the star, in your guides, in whatever higher power you believe in, right? That the universe knows how much work you've put in. It knows how much you have fought to reach the goal that is ahead of you. It knows that you're getting tired, and it just wants you to be a little more patient and just keep going. It seems the path you're on is perhaps a bit tedious. It's a slower path, and this can often cause a lot of frustration. It doesn't mean you're not going anywhere. Sooner or later, before you even know it, there's going to be a break in that monotony, right? The Eight of Pentacles says that as tired as you are, you need to make sure that you are consciously choosing to do the work and really thinking about every iota that you do toward achieving this goal. Don't let yourself get too caught up in the mundane day-to-day. Be conscious and be aware and be present in the work that you are doing to achieve your goal. And don't let yourself lose sight of that goal, right? And Tiwaz is a rune of faith, loyalty, justice, rationality, self-sacrifice, analysis, victory, honesty, and an even hand. It's associated with the god Tyr, the god of justice. It's also considered the rune of the warrior, particularly a warrior of spirit. You do have the wherewithal to keep going. The rune is trying to reassure you of what you've lost sight of in these two major arcana cards. Continue to have a bit of faith. Take accountability and responsibility for your actions, and don't be over harsh on yourself for your actions. If you recognize you've done poorly, but you've done all you can do to make amends, then there's nothing else to do except hold on to the lessons you've learned and take those forward. Don't be over harsh on yourself. You are only human. That also means that you can only move forward at the pace that is set for you. You can't move faster no matter how much harder you work yourself, but there's no need to slow down either. Don't stop working, but don't push yourself too hard. I think the Eight of Pentacles often hints at a bit of burnout. Don't work yourself so hard out of desperation to get somewhere faster that you lose all the motivation and drive to reach the goal that you have. This is also a rune of victory. Something is going to give soon, and you will see this goal approaching a little faster. I think your goal is closer to insight than you might realize. You've just been at this for so long that you haven't been able to notice it yet. But do not give up hope, and do not stop working toward your goal. Capricorn, your reading is the Hierophant, the Fool, the inverted Seven of Cups, and the inverted Three of Cups. Your rune is Berkano in reverse. The Hierophant is a spiritual teacher or mentor or leader in some way. It's also a card that urges sticking with or honoring traditions, or turning to and honoring whatever spirituality, particularly if there's a spiritual group you are connected with, to guide you through or support you as you move through your current circumstances. This could be as simple as you needing to be a bit more in touch with your spirituality, needing to make more time for it. It could be that some sort of spiritual guide, some ancestor or a god, whatever the case may be, is trying to connect with you, and you've been too focused on worldly things to listen and be able to get the message. Or it could be, if you're Christian, you need to go to church more, or read the Bible, or take a bit more time to have a daily prayer. Whatever spiritual traditions or practices you have in your life, you're meant to lean on this a little bit. The Fool is also, it's the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed beginner is how I always describe it. It represents an open and pure heart. It is optimism, and it is the beginning of some sort of journey. It's not necessarily reckless. You can recognize and be aware of any consequences or obstacles or problems that might come up, but it's choosing not to hesitate or avoid the journey that you want to start just because of those obstacles or consequences, right? Be optimistic about it and start this journey in spite of the things that you're worried about. The inverted Seven of Cups and Three of Cups are pointing to you having a bit of a struggle emotionally. Seven of Cups is temptation, diversion, or confusion. Something that's being offered to you right now is not what it seems. And I think this is where the Hierophant comes in, at least a little bit. You need to be cautious of falling for something that is too good to be true. Likewise, the inverted Three of Cups is one of two things. You're either getting too involved in some social circle that's starting to affect your ability to think for yourself and be an individual, or you're not being social enough. You're isolating and cutting yourself off, however intentionally, and this is causing problems. The Berkano rune is a rune of rebirth, sanctuary, wisdom, healing, and safety. Berkano in reverse signifies a blurring of consciousness, deceit, sterility, stagnation, conspiracy, or insecurity. I think the deceit is clear in the inverted Seven of Cups. The stagnation is also a bit clear in both the 7 and the 3. Insecurity, blurring out, like all of this makes so much sense. There is a potential and a beginning that lies ahead of you. And this beginning is bringing with it a lot of choices and a lot of new things to navigate. And you are concerned about these things, rightfully so. You need to not let that stop you. You basically need to find that middle ground, right? Of not letting the things that you're unsure of or unaware of stop you, but not being so gung-ho on your journey that you take every little opportunity or let someone take advantage of you. You need to be able to think for yourself, but you also need to make sure you're not cutting yourself off from the people you love and the people that you know love you. Likewise, you need to make sure that spiritually you're set. Whatever this journey is, it's gonna be difficult. It's going to bring a lot of obstacles and a lot of choices. You need to make sure that you don't lose any of the parts of yourself that keep you whole and level enough to be able to navigate it. Keep your community close. Keep making time for whatever your spiritual practice is. Be as steady as you can, but be brave enough to take those steps into that new path. Aquarius has pulled the Sister of Swords, the inverted Ace of Wands, the inverted Magician, the inverted Junonian of Swords, the Junonian of Cups, the inverted Ace of Swords. Your rune is Isa. Aquarius is wrestling some things mentally. You have 3 Swords cards, 2 of which are inverted, and most of these cards are inverted. The Queen of Cups and the Page of Swords are the only 2 that are upright here. The Page of Swords, or Sister of Swords, is a card of curiosity, restlessness, and mental energy. It's someone embarking on a new idea or a mental adventure of some kind, full of enthusiasm, good cheer, eager to share and discuss their thoughts and plans for what could be. The rest of this, though, points to doubt, desperation. I'm thinking the rune is pointing to why you're sort of having this back and forth conflict. The Sister of Swords is someone very eager and mentally very, very energized and ready to push forward into new horizons. The inverted Ace of Wands is a lack of energy or passion or boredom. I think the boredom might be what's really playing here. It's nowhere for the passion and the energy to go, and so your drive is starting to falter. The inverted Magician is trickery, illusion, being out of touch. It's you doubting your own capabilities. It's also you being potentially manipulative, or someone else might be manipulating you. It's false promises, things like that. The inverted Queen of Swords is a cold heart, it's cruelty, it's bitterness. It's someone who has the potential to be wise, perceptive, and sharp, but is leaning cold-hearted and cruel. The Queen of Cups upright heavily juxtaposes that. It's kindness, it's calm, it's serenity. It's a nurturing and compassionate individual, particularly emotionally, generous, kind-hearted, understanding of others' situations and emotions. The inverted Eight of Swords is a scenario of self-acceptance, gaining a new perspective, finding freedom. It's a scenario where you being trapped is more self-imposed than you initially realized. So when it's inverted, you've started to realize that you have more agency and you're starting to take back that control, right? You've gained the new perspective on your situation to realize that you have a lot more at your grasp that you can control about it. The rune of Isa represents ice. It is stasis, stillness, self-control, identity, and focus. Ties in beautifully with a lot of what's happening here. I think what's happening is you are trying to press forward through a problem, through your journey toward your goal, whatever it may be. But you've reached a point where there's very little that you can control to further improve it at this time. You've kind of reached a hurry up and wait scenario where you are eager for progress to be made, but you don't have enough control over all of the things that can affect that progress. You've done everything you can do up to this point, and now you have to be still. Now you have to wait for other things to work. You have to learn to be okay with being still and waiting, and focus on the other things in your life you do have control over while you wait for this one important thing to run its course. When you have so much energy and drive as you currently have, Aquarius, it can be very hard to divert your focus elsewhere and to know where to put that energy if the thing we're focused on can't be moved. I think you need to turn to other aspects of your life to direct that focus for now while you wait for this one thing to resolve. I think you need to recognize how you have more capacity than you initially realized to continue affecting this. You have more things in your life right now that you can control, that you can affect. But you're so focused on one facet of this scenario or on this one scenario in spite of everything else you're going through that you've sort of become tunnel visioned. It is okay to take breaks and to slow down. It doesn't mean you're stopping or giving up. Likewise, reaching a scenario where you have no more control over the situation for a while is not a bad thing. It's a natural part of life. Try not to let, because I think what's happening here is the Queen of Cups is, I think, in some way representative of an aspect of you. I think the Page of Swords and Queen of Cups are you and your energy and your capacity. I think the inverted cards are more your immediate reactions to what's going on, or it's how others are affecting you. You are this really kind and compassionate person, and you're a very intelligent and mentally capable person. You're capable of great focus and of having the mental energy to keep up with and get through whatever challenges are presented to you, whether they're challenges you choose to take on or things that life tosses at you. I think the Eight of Swords, the Queen of Cups, remembering what you're capable of in the Queen of Cups and the Page of Swords, and the moment of the inverted Eight of Swords, recognizing, okay, I'm not as stuck as I thought I was. I have a lot more power over this scenario than I thought I did. The inverted Magician as well, reminding you that you have more power than you thought you did. You need to, at this time, learn how to be okay with being still for a while. Find other things to direct your focus and your drive and your energy toward. to keep yourself sharp and honed until the scenario you've been focused on opens up in such a way that you can affect change in that part of your life again. Because if you try too hard to get the cogs to go faster, you could cause more damage. Likewise, if you don't find any other outlet for this energy and this passion and this drive, you could burn out and have nothing left for when the path opens for you to affect change for yourself in the very near future. Be okay with being still and be okay with shifting focus and priority for a little bit. Pisces has drawn Judgment, the inverted Six of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the inverted Chariot. Your rune is Manaz in reverse. Pisces is at a very important crossroads, I think, right now, particularly because you have two major arcana here. Judgment is all about sitting with yourself and being honest about things that have transpired in your past, and evaluating all of the events, all of your decisions and actions, and being honest with yourself about whether they were good, whether they were bad, if you're proud of them or not. Be kind to yourself and also honest with yourself as you do this. It's also an important point to be able to evaluate where you've been going, where you're trying to go, and if your goal and your path are currently properly lined up. Because if they're not, now is the time to make whatever shifts and changes to better be able to reach your goal more easily. The inverted Six of Swords is emotional baggage. It is resistance to some sort of transition. There's a change or a transition that is going to be necessary for what you're trying to achieve right now that you've perhaps been hesitant to accept or to enact. And unfortunately, if you keep sitting where you are instead of making this change or this transition, you're only going to be hurting yourself in the long run. You're going to be stagnating yourself. The Ace of Swords is pure potential energy in terms of a mental energy, a mental power of wit and intelligence. There is a new beginning and a new start that is right there waiting for you. But this little shift, this little change just needs to be made in order for you to be able to better take that opportunity and have this new start and make the most of it. The inverted Chariot is also stagnation. It's a need for a change of direction or a change of speed. There is an important shift that needs to be made, and you either know what it is and have simply been hesitating and avoiding doing it because you're concerned for the repercussions, what you might lose in this change, right? But think of everything you could gain. It is a change that is worth the risk involved and worth any loss that might be involved. Inverted Manaz. Manaz normally means mankind, mind, memory, learning, divine structure, etc. When inverted, it points more to concepts of depression, blindness, self-delusion, bigotry, elitism, or intellectual arrogance. I think your vision and your perspective on your scenario has been so clouded by the fact that you aren't where you thought you would be by now, the fact that you're not further along than you want to be, and perhaps even believing that you're already smart enough to get to your goal. I should just be able to reach it already. There's perhaps a level of arrogance, but I think more so you have clouded your own judgment and your own perspective by thinking you should be somewhere already, that you perhaps haven't seen that you're at this crossroads where you need to pick the correct direction to go in order to actually reach your goal. So now is the time to really sit and think about where it is you're trying to go and what needs to be done to get there, and pick your path from there. None of these paths are going to be easy necessarily. That's not what I'm trying to say. But one of these paths is better than the rest of them for getting you to your goal the most directly it can. There are things you are likely going to have to set aside in order to reach this goal. You may find along the way that you either never needed them in the first place, no longer need them, or you might be able to come back and pick them up once you reach the goal you currently have in mind. Once you reach the end of this journey, you might be able to go back to some of these things. The goal that you have set is the priority. So take the time to evaluate your scenario and all of your options. Evaluate the things you've learned so far up to this point. Make the choices and the shifts that are needed to get to the goal you actually have for yourself. Aries, you have drawn the inverted chariot, the inverted hanged man, the inverted sister of wands, death in reverse, the reversed Junonian of swords, and the Amazon of cups. Your rune is Thurisaz inverted. The inverted chariot for you, like with Pisces, indicates a lack of direction or a need to change direction. Inverted hanged man, you need a new perspective, but you're being too stubborn and or selfish in order to do that. You're being too bullheaded, or I guess ram-headed. You are Aries. You tend to be stubborn. The inverted sister or page of wands, like the inverted chariot, is a lack of direction. It can also point to feeling caged or trapped, or just general negativity about your situation. Inverted death, change, being resisted or avoided for whatever reason. Junonian of swords inverted, this is the Queen of Swords, represents a cold heart, bitterness, cruelty. The Knight of Cups is diplomacy, romance, or charm. Someone in touch with emotion and intuition, able to channel them into action. This could signal an arrival or an invitation to something that will cause celebration. Inverted Thurisaz which normally is defense, strength, protection. When inverted, it can be danger, defenselessness, compulsion, betrayal, violence for violence sake. I think in this case, the compulsion is probably what's being drawn on here. Aries, like a few of the other signs, is feeling a bit stuck. And the answer is in front of you. But for whatever reason, you're not seeing it, or you're pretending you don't. You see it and you acknowledge it, but you're refusing to take it. The only thing you're doing is stunting your own growth and your own progress by continuing to sit in your stubbornness and suffer with it. If you really want to reach the goal you've set for yourself, you need to make this change. You need to look at this situation differently, because continuing to beat your head against the wall is only going to give yourself a concussion. There is the potential for some arrival or invitation that will help, but I think it will only come to you when you are ready for it. And you will only be ready for it when you stop all of this nonsense and accept that the way that you initially planned to get to your goal or wanted to get to your goal may not be the answer anymore, if it ever was. Pick yourself back up. Stop being your own worst obstacle. Instead of putting all of that fiery energy into continuing to sit where you are, stuck, frustrated that you're stuck. Stop and look around for that other option, for the other ways forward, and pick one of those. Because this is never going to come unless you resolve all of this. Stop being so bitter. Stop resisting the change. It's never great when we have to shift our plans. It's never fun. It's better to have to reroute and still get where you're going than to be stuck where you are forever because you were too stubborn to see the answer staring you right back in the face. Taurus, you have pulled the Five of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, the inverted Jovian of Cups, the Fool, and the rune Iwaz. Taurus went through a rough ending of some sort, and it's hit you kind of hard. The Five of Pentacles is very much a feeling of being stuck out in the cold alone. It's often associated with poverty or homelessness. It's not necessarily those things, but it is materially and financially or career-wise, you've kind of been thrown to the wayside a little bit. You are severely lacking at the moment. And this has also caused some mental and emotional turmoil, as we can see with the other two cards here. The one thing to remember with the Five of Pentacles, though, is that there is a light on. There is shelter very close by. There is hope and there is faith that you can cling on to, that things will improve as you continue to move forward. The Ten of Swords, likewise, it's rock bottom. It's you having gone through a really tough scenario and you've hit the end of that scenario, which is the sort of shining light there. You're not suffering through it anymore, but it ended really shittily. Or it ended anticlimactically, but the whole thing was really crappy to go through. So yeah, the Ten of Swords is this crappy situation you've been through, but at least it's over. And so all you can really do at this point is start to pick yourself up and try to move forward in spite of what happened. One real big obstacle right now is the inverted King of Cups, which is manipulation, moodiness, or trickery. Emotionally is where you've been hit the hardest with what you've recently been through, and it's showing. However, you shouldn't let yourself get caught up in being so upset over what has happened, because there are some silver linings to your situation right now, right? For one thing, You survived. You're still here. You got through it. You're alive. For 2, 5 of Pentacles says that there is hope very near at hand. There is some sort of hope or faith or help out of your current situation that's very close by. So hold on to that hope and just keep looking for that opportunity to help get you out of it. The 10 of Swords, again, it's usually that sort of rock bottom, nowhere to go but up from where you currently are. At least the scenario that was so shit is over. The other shining light is the Fool. Now that this has ended, there is a new beginning on the horizon for you. And in spite of how you feel now, you need to be open-hearted and open-minded toward this new path and ready to realistically but optimistically head down this road with every ounce of hope and faith you can muster. Likewise, Iwas is a card of initiation, of timeless, of eternity, of immortality, and in readings it represents movement toward enlightenment, endurance, initiation, or protection. It can also be confusion, destruction, dissatisfaction, weakness, death. I think it's a little bit of both here. You are dissatisfied and feeling weak because of what you've been through. But it's reminding you of your endurance because you got through this. It's letting you know you're protected. You were being protected in this. That's part of how you got through, and you are protected to be able to move forward. More so, you have the endurance to pick yourself up and move toward this beginning of the Fool. If you only take the time to recognize everything you do still have, hold on, as I keep saying, to that hope or that faith that there's a way out of your situation and that things will get better, and very, very soon you will be okay. You will persevere. You will endure. And things will get better. Gemini, you have pulled 6 of Wands inverted, Jovian of Wands in reverse, Junonian of Pentacles in reverse, Junonian of Cups, and the rune Ansuz. Gemini, I think, is feeling overlooked and overworked in that. Emotionally, you're holding on, I think, or this is somebody else who's helping get you through right now. So I'll start at the beginning. 6 of Wands inverted is self-doubt, lack of recognition, perhaps even punishment. The inverted Queen of Wands, or not Queen, sorry. The inverted King of Wands is impulse, overbearing, unachievable expectation. Inverted Queen of Pentacles is a work-life imbalance, being smothered, or working without reward, similar to the inverted 6 of Wands. The Queen of Cups, however, is kindness, calm, and serenity. I'm thinking the first 3 are you, and the Queen of Cups is someone who's meant to help you, or an aspect of yourself that's meant to help get you through. You, in some way, with your work, your career, have been heavily put out or overlooked or taken advantage of. You've been working for quite some time toward your goal, and working harder than you should have been, but for whatever reason, you're not getting the reward you were supposed to. Or people who were supposed to recognize your work haven't been doing so. Instead, you've just been getting more work. And I think you're starting to burn out, and it's starting to affect you really, really heavily. I think the Queen of Cups is definitely one of your solutions here. It's either someone in your life who is super, super compassionate, really great to talk to, always listens, great shoulder to lean on, particularly someone feminine that you're meant to turn to and go talk to about this to help get it off your chest, or you are being urged to remain as compassionate as you can toward yourself and others as you navigate this. The Ansuz rune is a rune of order, inspiration, and communication. It can also represent transformation and intellect. I think talking with this compassionate individual, more so than just with this person, talk about what's happening. However much courage you need to summon in yourself to do it, you need to speak up about what's happening. You need to communicate what's going on. If things don't change after you communicate, then we can figure out what to do from there. But I think you've perhaps been suffering in silence. You've been doing all of this work and just expecting things to change or things to go right. And it's very possible, like, for instance, if this is your like 9-to-5 job where you've been putting in all this work and whatever was supposed to happen hasn't happened, check in with your manager or your boss and make sure they didn't forget. Make sure they're aware of everything you've done. Go talk to them and ask for that raise, ask for that promotion, ask for that transfer, whatever it is. And this can be applied to so many other scenarios. Whatever you're doing, you need to speak up about what has or hasn't been happening. How you have been treated poorly or haven't been treated right, but you need to speak up Otherwise, this isn't going to change anytime soon. And I'm wondering if this Queen of Cups is someone involved in this scenario who has some sway, who is compassionate and open of heart, who will help with setting things right. But you need to get up the courage to go talk about it before anything changes. And last but certainly not least is Cancer, who has pulled the Sun, the inverted Empress, the Nine of Swords, the Sister of Cups, and Strength. Your rune is Isa. I think Cancer's mostly in a good spot. You're dealing with some mental stuff that is kind of causing you to not recognize just how well situated you are. The Sun, being the bottom card, the main focus here, it's a card of just pure happiness and joy and celebration and light. Now is a really, really, really good time for you. It's a time to relax and just take in all of the great things that you have going on in your life right now. The inverted Empress does mention that you need to take a break from whatever things you're working on in order to take care of yourself, nurture yourself, do all the things you need to do to really take care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever that entails, because that's going to help you get through whatever sort of mental or creative blocks you might be experiencing. Especially when we also have the Nine of Swords, which is anxiety. You've potentially not been sleeping well, you've been having bad dreams, racing thoughts keeping you up at night, whatever that might be. While it's okay to anxiety is just the brain trying to process the things that it's worried about and trying to prepare for the bad case scenarios. But the bad case scenario is not the only scenario that lies ahead of you. There could be some really good things. The Sister of Cups, the Page of Cups, often represents delightful surprise. It's your inner child, it's your imagination. I wager there's going to be some sort of really good thing that's going to come along and surprise you, especially because you have the Sun. It represents all of these good, amazing parts of life. And the Strength card says you have the strength and the fortitude of heart and mind to deal with everything. And not just physical strength, but it's mental strength, it's emotional strength, strength of compassion and resolve. Something's going to come along soon that you need to be prepared for. So don't let yourself get caught up in all of this anxiety and this worry. Focus on taking care of yourself and looking on the bright side of everything as much as you can right now. And remember just how strong you are, how much you've already been through, and how much you likely are going to be able to get through in the future because of everything you have at your disposal. The Isa rune, as mentioned with one of the other signs, is the rune of ice. It's a rune of standing still. It is a rune that essentially signifies that right now is not a time for any sort of progress. You're not going to have any means of moving forward right now. So your focus is on taking care of yourself and being okay with being still, because very soon some sort of new opportunity or pleasant surprise is going to come along to open the way for you to move forward again. Until that time, enjoy life. Enjoy the blessings you have in your life. Enjoy your friends and your family, and just let yourself have some fun and relax for a while. And there we have our 12 zodiac readings for Lughnasadh 2024. I hope each of you has found the guidance you need for the season of Lughnasadh herein and at least one of these readings. Again, remember to take what resonates and leave the rest. I wish you all the best that this first harvest season can offer you. I wish you all a blessed Lughnasadh, and I'll see you for more tarot readings at Maven. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, you know where all the buttons and the links are to show me that love. If nothing else, do me a favor and subscribe if you haven't already. It's totally free, in spite of it being called subscribe, even though like everything's a subscription service now. And make sure to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. If you'd like to see more content like this video specifically, I have a playlist of all of my tarot and general divination readings linked in the cards and the description below. The description is also where you can find my Linktree portal to find where I'm active on other social media planes if you want to follow more of my adventures elsewhere. And as always, I'd like to give a huge thanks to my coven of patrons who continue to be my biggest supporters. And if you, dear viewer, would like to join their ranks, again, check that Linktree portal for my Patreon, which starts at $1 a month. Thanks again. Stay tuned for the Farthingale and Bumroll sewing vlog, as well as part 12 of Bolt Gun, and I'll see you all again very soon. Keep aiming, my loves. Mwah! Bye, y'all.